Hey, and welcome to Cryptology for You, the channel that's not even about cryptology at all, but all about cryptocurrency. I'm your host, Paulie D, and today we're going to take a sneaky little look at SMA, the Simple Moving Average. Well, I shouldn't have to remind you, but this is not financial advice. This is purely for educational purposes or a tad of entertainment, depending which way you're going to look at it, but definitely not financial advice. What exactly is a moving average anyway? It is a good way to smooth out the data so that you can see exactly which direction something happens to be moving in, and in this case it's going to be the price range for a cryptocurrency. It's also a good way to have a longer period of time. Looking at small periods of time like just one day just isn't going to be enough data. You really want to be able to go back in time to see how things were moving all the way back then. It can also help you find the support and the resistance zones for any particular coin. It's just a very easy way to see it. It's not exactly perfect, but it does help. But above all, it's a really good way to measure momentum. Just the way things are moving will tend to keep moving in that direction. And that's really where you want to be looking at. When you see a candle graph, just a normal candle graph, you sometimes see all these lines on it. Now, these lines are your simple moving averages, and I've got 3 on here. They're a little skinny and a little hard to see, but let's just point them out. Firstly, here is the top one, which is a 20 MA. You're going to be asking, what does the 20 MA mean? I'm telling you, you just have to hold. Below that, there is a bit more of a bluer line with a 50 MA range, and then finally I've got a dark coloured black line there with a 200 MA range. The colours are purely arbitrary. You can choose any colours you like, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. I've zoomed in a little now on this 20 MA, this mustardy orange colour here, and this is the 20 MA line, and you're still probably wondering, what does 20 moving averages mean? Well, firstly, let's take a look at how long these candle periods are. So each of these green and red blobs there are candles, and you can see the videos about candles as well. They're in the same section, you just have to look for them. But here we are looking at 1 day candles. Just zoomed in on that a little for you so you can see that. Therefore, a 1 day candle and a 20 MA line would show 20 days of moving averages. This means we would be looking at the 20 previous days and then dividing that price by the 20 times and moving that average every day. So as it goes to the next day, the very first of those 20 days drops off and the next day comes in, and so on, and it keeps moving through. The maths isn't terribly complicated, but you don't really need to know the maths too well to see what exactly is going on. You can see my 20 MA line is pretty close to where the candles are. Sometimes it's below the candles, sometimes it's above the candles, and sometimes it's going through the candles. Each of those things sort of means something too, and we'll look at that later as well. Recap. If I was looking at a 1 day candle graph, now you can change that, remember. You can pick 1 hour, you can even pick 5 minutes. You could pick any length of time. Because I've picked 1 day, I'm going to have 21 day moving averages. This means I'm going to look at the average price over the last 20 days, and I'm going to keep shifting it forward 1 day to keep that average moving. Well, it's quiz time. Just take a look at this graph and tell me, how long is this moving average line showing? Now, if you need to pause the video to take a look at it, do it. Otherwise, you're about to hear the answer, and that's not good if you haven't already tried, so try first. Well, look very carefully, because I have a 15-minute candle length, and I'm using an MA50. So in other words, we have 50 times 15. So this is a moving average of 50 units, which is 15 minutes. That's a lot of 5s to say. So in fact, the line plots itself over 750 minutes. So for the price average moving through every 750 minutes, and at every 15 minutes, that price moves a little bit further. Well, here's a fairly famous coin, and perhaps one you may have even heard of. This is Bitcoin, and I'm looking at its 1 day candle, and I've got 3 lots of moving averages here. I have the 20, the 50, and the 200. This is a fairly common set of data to use, but it's up to you. What you would like to choose is based generally on how long you're looking to trade for. If you're going for the long term, you really should have the 50 and the 200 moving averages up there, and I'll show why, because there are some pretty cool hints that it's going to give you. Now, if I zoom in on that Bitcoin chart and just look at a particular piece, I can see there is I'm looking now at the 20 moving average. I've got 1 day, and I'm taking a look at the moving average over 20 days, and you can see there are some zoomy ups and zoomy downs. Well, those zoomy ups and zoomy downs are pretty important, because the zoomy down bit, where it's at the bottom, this would indicate a support zone. And then the zoomy up bit, well, that's going to indicate a resistance zone. And there's another support zone, it's just hidden underneath me. And here's another resistance zone, not hidden underneath me. This could give us a pretty good indicator of how low the coin is going to go at some particular stage, but you can see that it's not perfect, it's just an indicator. You can see that the candles are well below the support range in some points and well above the resistance range in others, so it's just an indicator of where support and resistance is occurring. Well, let's take a look at another part of this Bitcoin graph, and you know how I was saying that the candles appear to be above the line in some parts, like here, and below the lines in some parts, like here. Well, these two things mean something as well. When the candles are above the line, this is actually a sign that you could be in a little bit more of a bull cycle. So things are on the up and up. When the candles are below the line, well, this is a bit more of a bear cycle. Things are on a bit of a down. This is the 20-day moving average, so you can see over a larger period, and you can go even further over the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average, and so on, and you can see where those bull cycles are occurring and where those bear cycles are just dragging down. There are also some pretty exciting events you can see within a 50 and 200 moving average range, and these can be quite profitable to look for too. The first one we're going to look for is the Death Cross. Here I'm using Bitcoin again, and can you see on the top left what the candle range is? Yeah, it's a 3-day candle range for this, and so this happened quite recently. I noticed a death cross occurring. Let's zoom in on that death cross. It's right down the end there, and you can see I have the darker line crossing above the purple line. The dark line, which one's that? Well, that's our 200 MA line. The top one, this is our 50 MA line. So when the 50 MA line starts to go below the 200 MA line, this is called a death cross. Ooh, it sounds nasty, doesn't it? So, just to recap that one more time. When the 200 MA line crosses above the 50 MA line, this is called a death cross. Conversely, I just went back a little bit further into Bitcoin's chart and I found this little interesting cross. Now, can you see it? It's in the bottom left there. See, look over there. Look, there it is, just down there. This cross is slightly different. This is again our 50 MA line. The purpley line is going upwards, and our 200 moving average line is going downwards. It's actually a good one. This one is called the golden cross. When the 50 moving averages crosses above the 200 moving average, this is a good sign. This is a nice little sign for prices to increase. The death cross, well, it suggests it's not as a good of sign, and we're likely to see a decrease. Another quiz time. Don't forget to pause if you don't want to hear the answer. What is going on in this graph? Oh, there it is. The 200 line, the 50 line, the death cross. You're probably wondering, how do I even add these simple moving averages to my graphs? My graphs just look like this squiggly line. Well, this is easy. If you're at Coinmarket Cap, you're welcome to use Coinmarket Cap, of course. It's very easy to do, but almost every single exchange you go to will already have the moving averages printed up. You just need to change them, and they're pretty similar how you do it. Well, the first thing you need to do is hit Trading View, and then you're into this type of candle chart. Now, some of this chart's going to be below me and the camera, but that's okay. I'm really only focusing on how to put up the moving average lines. You set the time frame that you want, depending. In this case, I'm just going to stick with the 1 day, but you can change to however you like by clicking on the down arrow there. The next thing you're going to do is click on Indicators, and this should bring this drop down box. Type in MA there, and this should take you down straight to moving average. So click on moving average, but don't click it just once. Click it 3 times if you want 3 moving average lines. On CoinMarketCap, you're only allowed 3 indicators, but other places should let you have a few more. After you've clicked 3 times, you should have 3 lines. But I only have 1. Well, that's because you clicked 3 lines and they all come up as the 9 moving average. So we need to change a couple of those so that they all stand out and become 3 different moving average lines. And this is pretty easy to do. You just hover over one of those line areas and up pops this little magical box, and then you just click on the settings button, which is that cog wheel, and up pops a new box. Well, here you can change the length, and I'm going to change it from 9 moving averages, so this would be 9 days of moving average, to, well, I'm going to make it 10. Then I'm going to change its color, so I'm going to go to its style, and I'm going to look at its color, and I'm going to make it a little thicker so it's easier to see on the screen, but these are all up to you. I generally will be using the yellowy mustard color for my low line, so I'll just pick that yellowy mustard color down here, or orange, or whatever color you like. It depends. My color vision isn't fantastic, so it's good to have a variance for me. Once you've chosen that, you can just push on the OK, and it should come up straight away, and then just do the other 3. So here, this is my finalized version. I have my 3 moving averages. I have a 10, I decided to go with a 50, and a 100. Now you'll notice the 100 seems to start off in the middle of nowhere, but that's because there hasn't been more than 100 days of moving averages to work out from until this point occurred. Now if you look closer, you'll see at the 50 and the 100 line are crossing. It is not a golden cross like you've seen previously, because this is the 50 and 100 line. You would need to look at the 50 and 200 line to see a golden cross. Well, of course, you still need to do your own research. You're looking at some coins, and this is actually one of the ways to do that research. This gives an excellent indicator of past behavior. But past behavior in cryptocurrency isn't always indicative of its future behavior. This means you have to be extremely careful when using simple moving averages to develop any sort of technical analysis over a long period of time. They are very good indicators, and they are the basic end of the indicators too, so everyone should be using them. But they are not fantastic at giving away secrets, and so just be wary about how much you can use them for day trading through to long term. You should feel free to join in with the Telegram, Discord, or Facebook groups, especially in the Discord group, where every day we're putting up charts to show how it's done, and we also discuss some of the fear and the greed index, as well as putting up some great crypto reports. And this happens daily, and it's very much worth your effort to join in just to see that. You can come in via the Telegram or the Facebook groups in order to get there, but we'll see you one way or the other, I hope, and you're welcome to chat. Don't forget there are also some links directly below which help keep this channel completely and utterly free. If you are thinking of investing, well, look at some of the places below. For example, Nexo, you can get $25 of Bitcoin absolutely for free just by joining up and then depositing $100 or more worth of cryptocurrency and keeping it there for 30 days. So long it stays above the 100, you'll get $25 of free Bitcoin. This is a pretty good deal. Well, another way you could help the channel is to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that little alarm button, because that little alarm button will tell you when the next video is coming. You can like and share, because your friends would probably love to know a little bit about moving averages themselves, and why wouldn't you share? Well, I've been your host, Paulie D, and I'm kind of enjoyed doing this one for you, so come back for the next.